Okay, why do people do this? What's the point? Now, there's one specific requirement. When you're an S corporation, you are now in the big boy leagues or the big girl leagues. You are officially filing a separate business tax return. You have graduated to a little bit more complexity in your life. Now, for those that are S corporations here in my chat, do I have any S corporations in my chat here? Type an S. Can I get a little S in chat if you're an S Corp? So, see chat, all these people, look, Tom Brady, I have even Tom Brady watching me. Now, these are the folks, if I had to guess, these folks are doing maybe 6 to 7 figures of income, okay? Because I know they have complexity. They probably have a good accountant. And for those that typed in S in my chat, you're required to do one specific thing every single year as an S corporation, which is what? You're required to pay yourself a wage. Minutes too. That's a good, I haven't had a person say you got to do your meeting minutes, but yes, you're required to do that. But you're required to pay yourself a salary. Interesting, right? So before, for my people who were a Schedule C before, they're like, I didn't really pay myself a salary, right? Schedule C people who are sole prop, they just took distributions out of their business bank account and they paid the bills through their personal bank account, right? But now with an S corporation, you have this formal arrangement that you are your own employee of your own business. Now you're required to pay yourself a salary. What do I specifically mean by a salary? You're required to pay yourself a W-2, okay? For that example, for that person, this brokerage that is doing 100K, that is usually my threshold to convert a Schedule C to an S Corp. It's around 100K in profits, okay? Some CPAs are like, oh, you shouldn't be an S corporation until you do $500,000. Like, every accountant has their own. Most accountants are like super conservative, right? They might not even make you an S corp. I've heard some people say S corps don't make sense. Crazy things, which I'm happy to prove it with math. Anyways, we have this W-2 portion that we're going to pay ourselves every year, and we're going to pay ourselves as well through a ACH. Interesting. Okay, this is getting interesting. So I have my business bank account now, and I have my personal bank account down here. I have an S Corp. So Stephen, you're saying that I have to pay myself in 2 ways. Yes. The first way is as an employee of your own business. You need payroll. Okay? Either it's Gusto, ADP, QuickBooks Payroll, whatever payroll provider you want to use. I don't care, but you have to run salary. What salary amount do I need to use? We can talk about that. Depends on your income in the S Corp. Okay, so I get the W-2 part. What's this ACH part? What does that mean? Oh, well, do you remember when you were a Schedule C, a sole prop, and you were just taking distributions out of your business bank account to your personal? It's the same concept. So you're going to pay yourself as a combination of 2 things, as a W-2 and through an ACH, wire, Zelle, whatever, okay? This ACH part is going to come out as a K1. We're going to report our profits and our distributions through a K1, okay? I'm going to pause here. Is this making sense so far? Jackson says, should I pay myself more to be able to match my 401k? Yes, Jackson. If you do have a 401k, a solo 401k, you absolutely should increase that if you want to max out the 401k. You can take K1 as long as it's less than wages you take. Not necessarily. Does the K1 pay Medicare and Social Security taxes? It does not. That's the trick here. I'm going to pull up my my spreadsheet here so you guys can see this. Okay? I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet here so you guys can see this quickly. I know you guys get bored by numbers, so just hang with me. Let's say we were a Schedule C and we were doing 100K in my real estate brokerage. Oops, sorry, 100, not a million. Okay? I'm doing 100K net profits in my business. I'm going to pay roughly $15,000 in self-employment tax. That full amount is subject to self-employment. But now we upgraded to an S Corp. So we're going to pay ourselves $50,000 as a reasonable salary. Now, as you can see, with the K1 is not subject, and an S Corp is not subject to self-employment. You're only paying self-employment on whatever you pay yourself as a salary. So in this case, this real estate agent just saved roughly $100 per year by being an S Corp. That's the magic.